and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very exciting segment today. The 6th day of March. Well, it's once again wonderful to have your company today. 26 degrees and partly sunny, meaning partly cloudy. So there we are. What do we have for you today? We have the news update and, of course, the Daily India report as well. Well, the biggest march in Sydney, since a long time, 50,000 people took part in that Pride March.
A very rare event. It's been 23 years, in fact. The last time the bridge was closed for a march was the Reconciliation Walk in 2000. But as you mentioned, a huge event, the world's largest celebration of the LGBTQI plus community. This is the culmination of Sydney World Pride, 17 days, and as you mentioned, tens of thousands of people marching across the bridge. It's been going on for just over an hour now, and we've seen thousands of people filing past in all sorts of colourful costumes. You had to register to be a part of the event. They had to cap the numbers because they were expecting so many people, so you had to go into a ballot, and there were 50,000 places, people marching from North Sydney to the Domain. Among the marchers was the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, and I had a chat to him on the Harbour Bridge.
This is a great moment. It's symbolising the unity that has been on show for 17 days. We are an inclusive country, and it's great to show that to the world.
Do you think we've achieved acceptance yet for the rainbow community?
There's still more to do, but it's certainly much better than it was, and it's a very positive thing.
There's been quite a few famous faces here on the bridge, including the actor Sam Neill. Let's have a... just my school teacher just went past. It's amazing who you run into here on the bridge here. But let's have a listen to what Sam Neill said in terms of why he decided to march and for solidarity with the community.
I think Australia, in particular Sydney, has come an awful long way since I first got here, which is 40 years ago or something. And pride, of course, is the opposite of shame, and there was a lot of shame back in the day, but that's pretty much gone, and I'm glad of that.
Very nice timing to run into your school teacher during this march. We'll let you go and catch up with your school teacher in a moment, Alex, but I will ask you that this does culminate in a major concert at the Domain as well. Just tell us about that.
That's right. So the closing concert will be at the Domain tonight. Headlining is Kim Petras, a trans pop icon, and I'm sure many of the people here will be heading on straight to Oxford Street, which is also shut today for a street party between 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Oxford Street was closed last night, and it was pumping out there, and I'm sure there's probably a few marchers who haven't had a lot of sleep tonight, so there might be some tactical naps that people are trying to get in ahead of the concert tonight.
So there you are, amazing numbers coming out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now, Queensland government is proposing a ban on dumping of solar panels. Now, you would have probably realized that I've been talking about this from some time, that we all looking at, the solar panels, all very good, but that in coming years and down the track, it will pose a threat to us. Here's that report.
Solar panels are the cheapest and cleanest way to power your home, but with a lifespan of around 15 to 20 years, disposing or recycling them is posing an increasing problem.
So the data looks at about 17% of your solar panel being currently able to be recycled, and we think we can expand that right up to 85% or 100% to be able to reuse that value within the solar panel.
The state government is partnering with the Smart Energy Council to trial an industry-led recycling scheme that will focus on collection and recovery of solar panels by installers.
The intention would be, I would expect, that there will be collection centres that will be established around the state.
Until now, most solar panel recycling has been done interstate.
Currently, when we ship a pallet like this down to Sydney, it costs us about $3,000. But moving forward, we'll be able to do that in Queensland. We're actually committing to a full circular economy here today in Queensland.
The recycling scheme is expected to reduce around 1,000 tonnes of landfill waste each year and create advanced manufacturing jobs in Queensland. Although the technology for recycling solar panels is still in the early stages, Europe and the US are leading the way in recycling the glass panels and extracting valuable raw materials like aluminium and copper.
Every ounce of a solar panel has a value, and if we can extract that value back for Queenslanders, back for the Queensland economy, that's what this plan is all about.
Michelle Tapper, ABC News.
And we really hope that that plan does work, because if you look at the increasing number of panels that are going on, even from where I sit on the 29th floor, I can look on the top of many buildings which were just did your collarbone before. Right now they're all covered with solar panels. So with a lifespan of about 10 to 15 years, they will all lead recycling at that time. So I think investment into that technology right now would be an investment into the right direction. Well, right now the report about women from diverse backgrounds and the code switching. What is code switching?
Describe to people what kind of things might be part of someone if they are code switching.
So essentially what we did for International Women's Week was try and make a contribution that recognised that not all women are the same, and especially if you're trying to access leadership. There are particular challenges and roadblocks that different kinds of women will experience. So in this report we looked at women from culturally and racially marginalised groups, 370 of them, and what we found was on their pathway to leadership they really had to shapeshift to try and fit a narrow prototype. This is something that women have tended to do in general, but if you're racially and culturally diverse, it's amplified because the obstacles are amplified. So things like trying to, people adjusted their accent, they adjusted the way they dressed. I mean, some people were quite radical with the things they did to alter their appearance. But in general, it's an attempt at fitting in, and fitting in a way that's really disingenuous to who you are.
What does that say, in your view, about Australia, where Australia's at in 2023, that women from diverse backgrounds are being forced, from their perspective, to do this sort of thing, to get ahead, to achieve these leadership positions?
Look, I think that perhaps even subconsciously there's just a narrow prototype of what a leader looks like in Australia, and the model still is very Western, very masculine. And when I say masculine, I don't mean just for men. I mean there are men who can't access leadership because they don't necessarily portray the particular characteristics that are deemed to be important for leadership. So the definition's still narrow. It has broadened a little bit over the last 20 years to be more accepting and inclusive of women's experiences.
But nowhere near enough.
Nowhere near enough. And we know that because you just have to look at the data in terms of who's there. And then if you compare that with who's doing well at school, who's doing well at university, this isn't about merit.
So let's talk about that data, because I was reading the report and you've got, how many diverse people are on boards, how many executive level, and then when it got to the statistic of CEO level, your shoulders slump, frankly.
It's harder at the CEO level than at board level. I mean, boards, especially on listed companies, they're appointed and the turnover is every couple of years, more publicly, and obviously there's more opportunities, but it's the appointment of CEOs. And that really shapes the culture within organisations. But they are board decisions. So we would like boards to be influenced.
Well, that's the point, Lisa. You can write all the reports that you want to write, and this is a good report, but unless there's a top-down change to corporate culture in Australia, nothing's going to change quickly in terms of allowing women to be themselves and achieve these leadership positions.
That's true, but if I could make one plea on International Women's Week, a lot of organisations are working on gender equality, a lot. And there's a big conversation. If we just broadened that push to be inclusive of not just women who have got Anglo-Celtic or European backgrounds or who are able-bodied, but to represent the interests and the needs of all women. So if the gender equality movement took a more intersectional approach, I think we would see more progress.
Without naming particular companies necessarily, are there sectors in the economy that are doing better than others on this front?
I mean, I think that across the economy there are different issues in different sectors. So we know that, say, banking and finance and even the resources and construction sector, a lot of the big companies do have very sophisticated gender equality efforts. And the issues for women there are issues around workplace safety and representation, leadership and pay. But if you look at feminised industries, the issues there are really about valuing that work so that women who work in the care economy get paid properly and have decent conditions.
One of the statistics, though, that I think we do need to highlight as we wrap up this chat is that companies do better when they have more diversity on the board. Their profits go up. It's a given.
Yeah, it's uncontested now as well. We run an inclusion index every 2 years, and in that index we can demonstrate empirically that if organisations focus on diversity and workplace inclusion, they become more innovative, more productive, people give more discretionary effort, and all round more successful.
And successful all round, that is a good thing, having that inclusiveness, and all the workplaces these days are moving towards that, and they are becoming more and more accommodating, more and more inclusive, as we saw from the first report, even to the LGBTQ community. People are now becoming more and more aware and more accepting of the fact. So, definitely diversity and gender equality in workplace should be paramount. Ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to go to our daily India report.
Welcome to the Daily India Report, which brings you reports, interviews, features and more on India and the Indian diaspora. The largest gathering of G20 foreign ministers for their meeting with India as the chair was held in New Delhi on March 2nd. It finished without a consensus due to the lack of common ground on Russia's war on Ukraine. No communique was issued after the meeting. However, important members like the US complimented Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for successful ongoing G20 meetings and an important forward-looking agenda, especially for the Global South.
Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar announced that no consensus could be reached among the G20 member countries due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. His remark followed after the G20 foreign ministers meeting on March 2nd. Addressing a press conference, Jaishankar said that the G20 meeting saw the participation of all member nations and 13 guest countries. 27 foreign ministers joined the foreign ministers meeting on March 2nd. Jaishankar said this was the largest gathering of G20 foreign ministers hosted by the G20 presidency. Multilateralism is in crisis today in terms of preventing future wars and terrorism. Talking about the lack of consensus among G20 member nations, Jaishankar said, the officials negotiated, but there were a large number of issues which were agreed by the members, like multilateralism, gender issues, counter-terrorism, anti-narcotics. I don't want to put a percentage on it. The bulk of the issues concerning the Global South was agreed in the outcome document. He added there were issues concerning the Ukraine conflict. There was a chair summary and not a joint commune. We couldn't get everyone on the same table because of the ongoing conflict. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the delegates at the opening of the G20 foreign ministers meeting. Modi said that multilateral institutions had failed to meet the world's most pressing challenges and called on world leaders to find common ground on divisive issues. Modi further said that G20 has the capacity to build consensus and deliver concrete results. He also said several developing countries are struggling with unsustainable debt while trying to ensure food and energy security for their citizens, and G20 needs to work to ease these challenges.
On her first visit to India, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni held bilateral discussions with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. The leaders discussed ways to further strengthen and deepen the long-standing relationship between the two countries.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in New Delhi on March 2nd. Meloni, who is the first Italian Prime Minister to visit India in a span of 5 years, was given a ceremonial welcome at the Presidential Palace. Prime Minister Meloni's visit is expected to further strengthen and deepen the long-standing relationship between India and Italy, said the Indian Foreign Ministry in a statement. The Italian Prime Minister showered fulsome praise on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, referring to him as the most loved leader around the world. Meloni is being accompanied by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani and a high-powered business delegation. Her state visit seeks closer ties in the defense and economic sectors. Prime Minister Modi said, "I welcome Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on her first visit to India. In last year's elections, the people of Italy voted for her and she became the first woman and youngest Prime Minister of Italy. I congratulate her on behalf of Indians for this historic achievement." The Italian Prime Minister said that Prime Minister Modi can rely on Italy's full support for India's G20 presidency. She said, "India can rely on our government to further enhance our relations. I firmly believe that there is a lot we can do together."
The Festival of Colours, Holi, came early for the Saffron Party, BJP, as the poll results of the assembly elections in 3 northeastern states gave a clear mandate to Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led Bharatiya Janata Party.
The Bharatiya Janata Party has retained power in Tripura, a former communist bastion, by winning 32 seats. In Nagaland, the BJP-NDPP alliance won 37 seats. The Bharatiya Janata Party attributed its victory in Nagaland and Tripura, 2 of the 3 states where assembly poll results were announced on March 2nd, to the amenities and infrastructure provided by their government and the unwavering faith that people in the region have in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's development agenda. BJP said that the vote is an answer to those who tried to create fears, and the BJP will erode tribal identity, impose food restrictions and is anti-minority. The election result has reinforced the BJP's development agenda. In Meghalaya, where BJP had broken ties with its ally, the NPP ahead of the polls, talks are underway for an alliance. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the people of Tripura and said that he is proud of all Tripura BJP workers for their spectacular efforts. He tweeted, "Thank you, Tripura. This is a vote for progress and stability. At the rate BJP for Tripura will continue to boost the state's growth trajectory. I am proud of all Tripura BJP Karyakartas for their spectacular efforts at the grassroots."
On the sidelines of the G20 foreign ministers meeting, Indian and Chinese foreign ministers met to seek out a common path to maintain dialogue, settle differences and promote the improvement of bilateral relations as soon as possible.
On his first visit to India in the capacity of a foreign minister, Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang met Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on March 2nd on the sidelines of the G20 foreign ministers meeting in New Delhi. Qin said, "We should put the border issue in the appropriate place in bilateral relations and promote the early shift of the border situation to normalize control." According to a Chinese Foreign Ministry readout, Qin said, "The two sides should implement the important consensus between the leaders of the two countries, maintain dialogue, settle differences and promote the improvement of bilateral relations as soon as possible, and move forward steadily." He added that China is willing to accelerate the resumption of exchanges and cooperation with India in various fields, resume direct flights as soon as possible and facilitate people-to-people exchanges. Direct flights between the two countries have remained suspended since March 2020, when China shut at its international borders because of the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. Lifting COVID-19 related restrictions, Beijing has resumed direct flights with several countries in recent months, including South Asian countries such as Bangladesh and Pakistan. Jaishankar in a media briefing said, "We spent maybe about 45 minutes talking to each other and the bulk of our conversation understandably was about the current state of our relationship, which many of you have heard me describe as abnormal." On India hosting the G20 summit this year, Qin said, "China supports the Indian side in fulfilling its G20 presidency and is willing to strengthen communication and cooperation to safeguard the common interest of developing countries and international fairness and justice, so as to inject stability and positive energy into the world."
In a proud moment for India, Bollywood actress Deepika Padukone has been selected as one of the presenters at the prestigious Oscars 2023 along the likes of stars Emily Blunt, Samuel L. Jackson, Dwayne Johnson, Michael Jordan and Jennifer Connelly.
Deepika Padukone is at the peak of her career. After years of hard work in the film industry, she is getting the recognition she deserves. Her latest film with Shah Rukh Khan, titled Pathaan, is still going strong at the box office after 5 weeks of release. In yet another milestone in her career and a proud moment for Indians, Deepika has been chosen as one of the presenters at the 95th Academy Awards 2023, popularly known as the Oscars. The actress shared the news on her social media handle. The 95th Academy Awards will be held on March 12th in Los Angeles. Before this, Deepika Padukone also represented the country as a jury at the 75th anniversary celebration of the Cannes Film Festival. The actress turned heads at the French Riviera for over 10 days on various occasions and also took part in many talk sessions. Deepika Padukone was appointed as the brand ambassador of the French brand Louis Vuitton in May 2022. She unveiled the FIFA World Cup trophy in Qatar prior to the final match between Argentina and France. This year, the Oscars is extra special for India as one song and two documentaries have been nominated in different categories. The Natu Natu song from S.S. Rajamouli's RRR has also been nominated at this year's Oscars in the Best Original Song category. All That Breathes will compete for the Best Documentary Feature Film, while The Elephant Whisperers is among the nominees for Best Documentary Short Film. The RRR song Natu Natu will also be performed live at the 95th Academy Awards. Singers Rahul Sipligunj and Kala Bhairava, in their Oscar debut, will be performing the track on stage.
After much hype built with posters and a teaser, Bollywood superstar Salman Khan released the music video of his new song Billy Billy from his upcoming film Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan. After teasing fans with monochrome pictures of himself from his new film Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan song Billy Billy, Salman Khan has finally released the music video. The peppy Punjabi number has been sung by Sukhbir and shows Salman Khan and Pooja Hegde doing energetic bhangra moves on the dance floor. Billy Billy has been penned by Kumar with additional lyrics by Vicky Sandhu, who has also composed the song. While Salman is seen in a black suit and shades with an untied bow tie hanging around his neck, Pooja Hegde is seen in a red blouse and plazos. The video begins with the text, "This Eid, for love with love," flashing on the screen as Pooja Hegde walks into the frame looking stunning in a red ensemble. Salman Khan, who can't help but admire her, breaks into a dance routine as soon as he joins her on the dance floor. In another sequence, Salman Khan is seen dancing with the crowd, where everyone is seen wearing cat masks. The video ends with Salman kissing Pooja's hand as she blushes. The film is set to hit the theatres this Eid, April 22nd. That's all for this bulletin of the Daily India Report.
And thank you very much, Simran, for that report. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful having your company today. As I mentioned before, that we will be fine-tuning all the upcoming events and we will look at them maybe probably from tomorrow. Well, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from us.